Okay, so we're going to make a video for the next module that we're going to be doing, Module 3, Topic 1. It's going to be dealing with exponential functions. If you remember back at the beginning of the year, we were doing exponential functions. We One of the functions that we talked about, there was quadratic, piecewise, linear functions. Exponential functions, if you remember, was the ones that looked like the Superman ride. Okay, if you've ever been to Six Flags. Okay, so I already downloaded that the file. I put it on Google Classroom. You can download it into your computer and then open it in that way. Okay, and now if you can open it with Kami, you'll be able to write on it. Okay, it gives you some. So this is what we're gonna do. Okay, very, very important to read the directions, see what we're doing. So it says write a sequence as a function. So write each geometric sequence as an exponential function, graph the function for all integers, such that is n is less than or equal to n and less than or equal to 10. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we're gonna change this sequence into an exponential function. Okay, right now as it is, it's a geometric sequence. So an exponential function is going to look a little bit like this. Okay, it'll be, instead of g of n, we're going to go g of n. So that's how you write the function. Okay, and then this minus 1 means you want the term before we get to that term. So before we get to 5. Well, let's a little review. Okay, if you remember back from the beginning of the year, the 5 represents our first term. Okay, so that's our first term. Okay, the 2 represents our common ratio. How much are we multiplying by? Okay, how much we're multiplying to get to the term before? Okay, so the minus 1 means we want the term before our first term. So we want our 0 term. So if we multiply them by 2 to get to the next term, what we have to do to get to the term before? Okay, and to get to the term before, we're going to divide it by 2. Okay, now we got some options. We can write it as a decimal, or we can just write it as a fraction. I'm going to go ahead and write it as a fraction. So instead of multiplying by 2, I'm going to divide by 2. So it'll be 5 divided by 2. Okay, times 2 is the number we're going by. And this time, instead of n minus 1, since that's for the first term, it's just going to be to the nth power. Okay, and there's our function. Okay, that was the first thing. Now we're going to do is we're going to graph them. So let's go ahead and graph them. And let's see. So our n is going to be our x-axis. So that's going to be our n. And it says to go from 1 to 10. So let's go ahead and start at 0 here. And then we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So we're going from 0 to 10. And let's go ahead and make a t-chart. So I'm going to make a t-chart, x, y. Okay. Or in this case, let's go ahead and let's see. Let's go ahead and erase this. Instead of x, let's go ahead and write, if I can. Okay, let's go ahead and write n and g of n. Okay, and let's go ahead. It goes 1 through 10. So let's go ahead and do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. We're gonna make a big T-chart. Okay, for this, we are gonna need a calculator, and you can use your phone, you can use your computer. If you use your phone, make sure it's you put it sideways if you have an iPhone. If you have a let's see, not an iPhone, but a the other type of phone, which I have, try downloading a calculator that's called Smart Calculator. Okay, if you download the Smart Calculator, it'll allow you to do the exponents. If you have an iPhone, just put it like sideways, and it'll do it. It'll do the exponent also. Okay, in Android, there we go. That's what's called. Okay, so there we go, real calculator. Okay, and then we just type in the number. So what happens if we put 1 for n? Okay, so it'll be 2 to the first power. Okay, follow order of operations. That'll just be 2, and then 2 times 5, and divided by 2, and that gives you 5. So it'll be 5. And then we try 2. 2 to the second power times 5 divided by 2, and that would be 10. And then we try 3. 2y to the x, 3, times 5 divided by 2, and that's 20. Okay, now you can keep on going, put it in the calculator, but sooner or later you should be able to figure out there's a pattern. And what's the pattern? How much are we going by? Okay, how do you go from 5 to 10? Okay, so from 5 to 10, we're multiplying by 2. 5 times 2 is 10. 10 times 2 is 20. So then it would be 20 times 2 would be 40. And then it would be 80. And then it would be 120. 120? No, 160. And then it would be 320. And then it would be 640. 640, and then it would be 1280, and then it would be, what would that be? 1280 times 2, 2560. Okay, so the next thing we have to decide is how much are we going to go up by on our g of n or our y-axis. Okay, so we need to go all the way to 2560. I think we can go by 300. So each line is going to be 300. So 300, 600, 900, 1200, 1500, 1800, 2100, 2400, and 2500. By the way, so there's 10. So divide that by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We can divide it by 9, or we can divide it by 10. And we say about 284, so we go about by 300. Okay, and then we just can connect our dot. For the first part, or actually for most of the parts, we're just going to be guesstimates or what's going to be. So we got 1 and 5, so you know that's 300. So 5 is going to be like way down here in the bottom. And then at 2 is 10, way right here at the bottom. And 3 got 20 down here. 4 is 40. Okay, so now it starts to get rid of it a little bit off the line. 5 and 80, maybe right there. 6 and 16, so that's half the 300. So now we got half of 300. Okay, 7 is 320. Okay, so now we go over 300. Okay, 8, 640. Okay, so there's 600, so 640 will be somewhere over here. 9 and 1280, so 9 and 1280 will be a little bit more than 1200 right here. And 10 and 2560, so it'll be way over here. Okay, and that's it. So that's your Superman ride. So that's what we're going to be doing for this section A. Okay, on section 1, letter A. Same thing. So just a little review. If we look at number 2, we're multiplying by 3. So if you want to get the number before this number, we can divide by negative. We can divide by 3. So our g of n is going to change to g of n, g sub n to g of n. And then if we go 1 before, instead of multiplying by 3, we divide by 3. So it should be negative 3 divided by 3 times 3 to the nth power. Okay, make a t-chart like I did on number 1. And let's see, if we go 3 to the 10, 3 to the 10 is 3y to the x10. Okay, this is 59,049. So if we divide that by about 9 lines, that gives me about 6,560. So we probably are safe if we go by, you can try to go by 5,000. Even if it's a little bit short, you can go by 5,000. Now, if you notice, we're multiplying by a -1. So our graph, when we start doing the numbers, okay, they're actually going to be going down. So what we want to do is we want to make our axis, our x-axis, up here. So up here is going to be our n, and then here is going to be our, should have used the, let me try this one. Yeah. Okay, this should be our g of n. Okay, so make the table. You can make the table over here. Okay, not moving. Okay. And then just plug them in. And you're always going to use the same numbers: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And plug them in the calculator. So just plug and show you. Then I can write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. Okay, and then just plug them in. And that's what you're going to do for the first section. Okay. If you need help, you know where to find me. I'm always online. Okay. So if you have any questions, call me. If you prefer to print this out and just do the work on the paper, if you want to do it on graph paper, if you want to do it on line paper, anywhere you want to do it, that's fine. And just upload that the file to the Google Classroom. Okay. So I'll go ahead and stop here, and then I'm going to do what's going to be doing for section 2, letter A.